This should put an end to the criticism regarding LA Knight. Yeah, in this video, we are going to break down exactly what WWE has been able to do finally after so long. Now, look, LA Knight reclaimed the United States Championship in a hard fought rematch with Shinsuke Nakamura on the March 7th episode of Friday Night SmackDown. This victory avenged his previous loss to Nakamura at the Survivor Series War Games, and following the win, WWE released an exclusive interview with Knight where he expressed his excitement and outlined his plans for the championship. He declared his intention to elevate the championship status by defending it at upcoming WWE events around the world, including the UK tour that starts later this month. It's been too long, Knight stated. Way too long. What I need to do is this. I need to get these, meaning side plates, off here. What I need to do is get that LA Knight back on there. What I need to do is get the strap on. Yeah, that sounded a little weird. And what I need to do is take this title back to places maybe that it once was, but to places that it's never been. What I need to do is take this title all over the world. I think we're going to Europe and not too long from now. The U.S. champion, the U.S. title coming over there. And I'll tell you what, just as it is here in the United States, you can pledge the allegiance to the champion of the United States with everybody singing L.A. Knight 2 times we did it. L.A. Knight reflected on his career and shared that he had thought it was ending. He then stated that he would be bringing the United States Championship into the light. Now, last summer, Knight went into a feud with U.S. champion Logan Paul at SummerSlam, where Knight defeated Logan Paul to win the U.S. Championship. Now, he later went on and not only feuded with Carmelo Hayes, but as well as Andrade in singles matches. But in fact, they worked a triple threat match at Crown Jewel in sweet Saudi Arabia. Now, when Knight lost the U.S. Championship at Survivor Series, many people thought it was a major mistake. Knight was just getting started with a title run. That was a little lackluster to that point, but fans were optimistic. And then all of a sudden, Nakamura, who was on a hiatus, won a singles match and earned a championship match? Are you kidding me? Well, while champion, Nakamura didn't do anything of note, which only fired up LA Knight fans. Now, many people, including myself, felt that if Knight could have had a longer run with the championship and or get the championship back, then he could be back on the rocket ship that he had been on before the Logan Paul feud. Now is the time and opportunity to prove those people right by Knight and his booking going forward. It all started on Friday Night SmackDown. It started when he beat Shinsuke Nakamura for the U.S. Championship. What this should do is put the naysayers, put the critics just to bed for now. LA Knight is a guy that will have the highest of highs, the highest of peaks, and then he will fall and fall and fall. That's what LA Knight does. He was on a pretty good run around after Elimination Chamber, going into Mania. He feuded with AJ, right? And he was on a pretty strong run over the summer, right? The Rock was gone. The dumb comparisons were gone. And LA Knight really started to find his own, right? So he starts to feud with Logan. And Logan Paul versus LA Knight build the feud, the angles leading up to their SummerSlam match. Very, very good. I really, really enjoyed them. The only problem was, coming out of SummerSlam, I don't think WWE necessarily knew what to do with LA Knight. Like, he had come off a pretty good feud, and they didn't have much for him. And I think this was really the start of the downturn of SmackDown, where SmackDown just feels like, let's just throw something at the wall and see if it sticks, and or just do a bunch of rematches. And with LA Knight, he had this epic run in 2023, and then in 2024, things were a little bit flat until Mania. And then he got into the Logan Paul thing, and then once the Logan Paul thing was over, things started to feel a little bit flat. Well, what do I mean by that? So WWE, and this is a great tool to get over the champion, especially a babyface, and get over either talent that have not gotten a lot of opportunity on television, talent that, are stars, they just need something to do that week type of situation. So they do open challenges with LA Knight as the U.S. champion, and that was great. But what happened was they had dropped the ball with him because he was just doing open challenges, right? And even if he did have a feud, Andrade and Carmelo Hayes, it was like, hey, man, we've already seen you beat these guys. What are we doing? So they dropped the ball on LA Knight, and then they had him lose the title to Nakamura. I'll get more onto that in a minute. It just, there was just these like, what are we doing? Booking decisions and booking opportunities for LA Knight on television when it's like, hey, this guy's a legit star. Like, you need to pay attention to him. He's really, really that good, and they just wouldn't do it. And so it was absolutely infuriating to see. Right? If you look at LA Knight and the Open Challenge, it was brilliant, but there was only a handful of guys, and then he went to the Andrade and Carmelo Hayes thing. My rant about the Nakamura thing, I lost my mind on the Survivor Series review show, but it was, why are we having a Nakamura beating LA Knight to win the U.S. title? Why are we taking the title off of LA Knight? Why are we putting it back on Shinsuke Nakamura? Number two, why are we having Shinsuke Nakamura feud with LA Knight? He's been on hiatus. He came back. He literally was announced for a championship match, and then he won a squash match the week or two after the match was announced, and the night before Survivor Series. So it's like, okay, what are we doing with Shinsuke Nakamura being in the mix? And then I saw some fans go, oh, this is just to get LA Knight even more over. And I was one of them. Admittedly, I was one of them. Because it's like, okay, Nakamura, A, hasn't been used in forever. B, he hasn't been used in the most positive ways in terms of like actual championship material outside of his, feud for the world title or WWE title a few years ago. He hasn't really done much in multiple years. Like, he's not the 2017 or 2018 Nakamura anymore. He's very far and few between. And so when they had Nakamura beat LA Knight, not only is it just a weird booking decision just to have Nakamura back on the title scene or in the title scene, and why are we beating LA Knight? Like, it just wasn't making a lot of sense. But they went ahead and they did it. And now that LA Knight is a champion, I love the fact that he's willing to be the guy that will go out there and will defend the championship against all comers. I appreciate the fact that he's willing to put his championship on the line and really go out there and put on a performance and try to connect with the fan base while he's trying to reach the main event, trying to teach the top tier single star status. And LA Knight going out there every single week and obviously going over to the UK and defending this championship, I think it's only going to help him in his standing. And I'm hopeful that the build to, or not the build, but the run of his second championship is a lot better than it is looking back on his first, right? Like, I hope they can see their faults, they can see their missteps, and they can handle it accordingly and in the right way. But time will tell whether they do or not.